I should mute myself. Oh,
Meet your microphone there.
macro.
Okay. Yeah, I wanna get 70. Okay, so let's do this one. 3.1. Even in this question paper, we have to do what? We have to do ordinary share capital. They say that we are provided with the information relating to Google Limited for the financial year ended 30th of June 2020. Google Limited is a public company listed on Johannesburg Security Exchange. JSC, back in our days, we used to call it Johannesburg Stock Exchange, right? But then things changed it. Currently, it's no longer stock exchange, but then rather security exchange. They are based in Pretoria and sell office stationery. The GLTD decided to open a new branch in B and E halfway through the year. 3.1, calculate what? Complete the ordinary share capital to the balance sheet on the 30th of June 2020. So let's go do our ordinary share capital. Let's start by erasing this one that we was dealing with. And then remember, when you do your ordinary share capital, always leave two lines. Because you never know which one might affect or which one might happen first. Repurchase is not guaranteed to always happen after what? After issue. Okay, let's proceed here. Let's go to a pre-adjustment trial balance to see whether they give us any values. They gave us trial balance there, but then our main focus is only on ordinary share capital. Let's go to ordinary share capital. You do have an ordinary share capital here, but then they gave you opening balances and closing balance. This one was an easy one. Remember, 2019 is opening balances, and balances in 2020 these are our closing balances. Meaning we have a value of how much? Of 3,084,000 rand, that's our opening balance. And also we had a closing value of how much? Of 3,776,000. So let's go record them. They give us values for opening and closing. Opening was 3,084,000 rand. Let's go record it. 3,084,000 rand. And then for closing, it was 3,776,000. 3,776. Let's go to additional information to see transactions that occurred during the year. And then they said that shareholding for 2020 financial year, authorized share capital consisted of how much? 1,200,000 ordinary shares. What are authorized shares, guys? What are authorized shares? You can just indicate there in the chat box. No problem, Joel. We'll upload the first session part so that you can be able to view it because it was recorded. Unga worry, Joel. So hopefully I did pronounce your name correctly. Guys, what are authorized share capital? Please clearly indicate there on our chat box if you have this. What are authorized share capital? Authorized share capital, as Gabriela has clearly stated, authorized share capital, these are the maximum number of shares that a company has issued, not the shares sold. Not what? Not the shares sold. These are the maximum number of shares that a company can issue. Meaning our company is supposed to sell 1,200,000 shares in maximum. Meaning the value of shares in which they sell must not exceed 1,200,000 shares. If ever they exceed 1,200,000 shares, it simply means that we say that the transaction will be regarded null and void. Or the memorandum of incorporation, which is MOI, will have to be what? Amended. So this 1,200,000 rand, you're not going to do anything with it. And then they say that on the 1st of July 2019, there were 1,020,000 shares in issue at the commencement of our year. Our year, remember that our year commenced on the 1st of July 2019. So at the commencement of our year, we had 1,020,000 shares issued. So we'll just record it here on the shares column. On the shares column, we'll write 1,020,000 shares. And then they say that bullet number 3, on the 1st of January, all the unissued shares were issued. On the 1st of January, all the unissued shares were issued. So how many shares were issued, guys? What will be this number of shares that were unissued? Because they clearly told us all the unissued shares were issued. And then remember, guys, no answer is wrong or right. What are those number of shares that were issued? The transaction says all the unissued shares were issued. What will be those number of shares that we issued on the 1st of January? It will be, let 180,000 rand. 180,000 rand. Affirmative. 180,000 rand were the unissued shares. Unissued means unsold. Let's do it. Remember that we had an authorized share capital, where the maximum number of shares that a company can issue as 1,200,000 shares. Meaning our company is entitled to sell 1,200,000 shares. But then at the commencement of our year, when we began our year, we sold, or we had already sold 1,020,000 shares. 1,020,000 shares, these ones are issued, meaning they are sold. Issued means sold. Unissued and sold. Meaning on the 1st of July, when we commenced our year, we had already sold 1,020,000 shares. So we'll say 1,200,000 minus 1,020,000, and then we'll get 180,000 rand. This value of 180,000 rand, this is the value of the unissued shares, meaning the unsold shares. Meaning on the 1st of January, it says that on the 1st of January 2020, all the unissued shares were issued, meaning 180,000 shares were issued. That's correct. So we sold 180,000 rand. But then, you can clearly see there, they did not give us the price in which we issued or sold our shares. They did not give us a price. They did not give us a price. Meaning you'll have to calculate it by yourself. Let's read our last bullet. On the 31st of May 2020, 20,000 shares were repurchased. Let's read English, guys. 20,000 shares were repurchased. Let's highlight. One thing that you're supposed to always do when it comes to this typical transaction, always highlight. How many shares were repurchased? 20,000. Were repurchased at how much? Were repurchased at 4.20 rand per share, which is 1 rand above the average issue price. We said that when it comes to repurchase, on our ordinary share capital, we always record the average price. But then they do not provide you with the average price here. They give you your market price. Your market price is how much? It's 4.20 rand. They gave you your market price as 4.20 rand. This is the market price. And then you said that We use our market price when we do cash flow statement. They say that they were repurchased at how much? At 4.20, which is 1 rand, which is 1 rand above the average price. The market price is 1 rand above the average price. So what will be our average price, guys? What will be our average price? Average price. Our average price, remember that this thing you can like, okay, I would encourage you maybe to write this thing. Maybe you can say when you are writing there in your exam, always write, especially when it comes to repurchase, just write MP. MP is market price. And then you know that market price, you use it when you do what? You use when you do cash flow, average price. We'll write it as AP. Right? And then when we say market price minus average price, we get our difference. We get our difference. In this situation, all of you are correct there in the chat box. They said that they give you a market price and then they told you that it's how much? It's 4.20. They told you that it's 4.20. They said that it was repurchased at 4.20 per share, which is 1 rand above the average price, meaning that 1 rand is our what? Is our difference. For you to get your average price, we'll just say 4.20 minus rand, in which you'll get 3.20. So that 3.20 will be your average price. So the average price for your shares that you're going to record on your ordinary share capital, say that ordinary share capital is record what? Average price. And then this difference, we are going to record it when we do our retained income. When we do our retained income. So our average price is 3.20. So let's go record it. The number of shares, we'll write the repurchase. How much was the price? At 3.20. How many shares were repurchased? 20,000 rand. 20,000 shares. So how are we going to calculate our value here? What will be the value of what will be our value there? Our value of our repurchase. Because we know that on the right hand side you write number of shares, but then on the left, is it the left? I don't know it. I don't know the guys whether it's right or left, but then you get the drill. So we'll get 64,000 rand. How will we get our 64,000 rand? We'll say 20,000 rand multiplied by 3 rand 20, which we get 64,000 rand. Therefore, 64,000 rand will be the value of our repurchase. So at this point, you can simply calculate. We have two unknowns. I can simply get let's start with the number of shares that we had at the end of the year. We'll start by saying shares issued at the beginning plus issued shares minus 20,000 rand. And then we'll get the shares at the end. So let's calculate it. And we'll just type in the chat box and tell me how much we get, guys. One million 108. That's correct. 1,180,000 will be the number of shares that you have at the end of the year. And then any volunteer who can tell us how are we going to get the issued value here. You can simply unmute yourself and tell us how will we get our issued value there. Sorry there. Our issued value. If you're not comfortable with unmuting yourself, you can simply write the answer in the chat box. But then when you write it, please do provide the calculation. Okay, guys, me and Joe don't understand anything, guys, because you only give us answers, but then it's fine. You don't want us to understand, but then you're not complaining, guys. Because we would assume that La Profita, you prophesize since you gave us only the answers, which is fine. But because you're not complaining. Okay, so since me and Joe don't understand how you got them, we'll just guess. So remember that when we get, for us to get the value of at the end of the year, how do we get it? We get it by saying what? Shares at the beginning of the year, or the value, balance at the beginning of the year, plus balance at the beginning, plus issued, minus repurchase, and then we'll get the balance at the end. For us to get the balance at the end, normally we say balance at the beginning, plus issued, minus repurchase, and then we'll get the balance at the end. But then in this situation, we're not looking for the balance at the end. So I said that in this situation, we start from the bottom and go upwards. You start it from the bottom and go upwards. So when you start from the bottom going upwards, you do a vice versa of what you normally do. Meaning the amount in which you used to minus, you are going to add them. And the one that you used to add, you will minus them. So we'll say 3,776,000 plus 64,000 rand, because we used to minus it. Minus what? 3,084,000. And then we'll get 756,000 rand. 756,000 rand. 756,000 rand will be our answer. So that's how we got it. I don't think there's anyone who got it correct, because all of us were prophesizing, guys, there in the chat box, because I did not see any calculations, meaning we're just assuming we're playing Lotto. And then it seems all your figures were correct. So you should opt for Lotto. So with regards to this ordinary share capital, do you have any inquiries or any questions? Is there any part, guys, in which you want me to emphasize or to explain that again?
Okay, we didn't determine the issued price. You see there where you put question marks.
The issued.
How do you get that? Yes.
So in
Oh,
this,
Konje, you divide us. Okay.
you just divide. Say 756 divided by 18. So we'll just say 756,000 rand divided by 180,000 rand. And then we'll get your issued price, in which is supposed to be 420. Thank you there, Gabriela. You raised a very important thing. And go sorry for my grammar, for my spelling. I can clearly see that even the what balance there. Aish. You just forgive me. So with regards to this ordinary share capital, do you have any questions, guys? Because now one thing that I want us to know, guys, I want us to emphasize more on the principles, the core principles. Because if ever you know the principles, good, how do you determine the repurchase? How do you calculate what? Everything for you will go perfectly well. Principles are important. The only thing that will differ are amounts. But then if ever you know good, for me to get the repurchase, I'm supposed to do this and this and this. You'll perfectly be fluent with this thing. Just like a paraglastic flow. So are we still good, guys, with ordinary share capital? Please raise any concerns that you have. If you don't have questions, I'll ask them. So clearly indicate in the chat box there whether you have questions. Regarding ordinary share capital. Zima says that he doesn't have a question. What about Joel and Gabriela? Okay, unmute yourself, Joe. If you have questions, unmute yourself and give us those questions so that you can ensure that you understand content. Even if you can ask us 100 questions, doesn't matter. As long questions are assessed. You can simply unmute yourself or you can type in the chat box.
Guys, sorry for fihla late ne, mare ke fumane sentse le etsa ordinary and ha ke tsebe le qadile kae, eng kopanya eng, ntse ke tseba method tsa grade 11.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, you joined as kind of did not commence with us. Okay, Joe, you only joined us on the second part of our session. So even this lesson is being recorded. So with regards to the first part of our session, subsequently when our class ends, we will post it on our YouTube channel and send you the link so that you can watch it, ne?
So what about the questions mo ke sa utlwisising teng ke tla etsa?
Alright, kinana. So first thing is first thing. Go through that video. After going through that video, if ever you still have more questions, ask them on WhatsApp and then I'll attend all of them.
Okay, hana mathata. I got it.
Yeah, Rodman. So please do that. So immediately when the lesson ends, I'll do it. And then another thing, earlier on today, I did send you notes. I think it was a PowerPoint. I did send you notes of companies, but then just the theoretical part of it. So also that notes, please use them fruitfully, guys. Please use them fruitfully. So right now, we can go to retained income. Let's go to this note, which is retained income. I'll send you this booklet so that you can practice yourself with. Okay. For our retained income, we have balance at the beginning of the year. Yes, I'll send more questions on our group. So with regards to our retained income, we have a balance at the beginning of the year, and then we have a NPAT, net profit after tax. We have a net profit after tax. As we have previously outlined, we are dealing with the financial statement of companies. Companies are entitled to tax. Companies are supposed to pay tax. So there we are going to record your net profit after tax, and then we have a repurchase. The repurchase, you record the difference in your retained income. You record your difference. Let's look at this question paper. In this question paper, our difference was 1 rand. Meaning this 1 rand, you are supposed to record it where? On your retained income. You will say 20,000 rand. Let's make an example. We said that you will say 20,000 rand multiplied by what? By 1 rand. Because 1 rand is a difference between what? It's a difference between the market price and the average price. So we'll just say 20,000 rand times 1, in which you will still get 20,000 rand. That's how you get your repurchase there. And then we have a dividends. Dividends are always in bracket. We said that when it comes to companies, shareholders are owners of the company, and then shareholders are not remunerated by means of a salary. You cannot give an owner of a company a salary. You only provide your workers with a salary. Shareholders are given what we call dividends. We have 2 types of dividends. We have what? We have interim dividend, and also we have final dividends. Interim dividends is given to shareholders within the first 6 months of our financial year. The interim dividend is provided to our shareholders within the first 6 months of our financial year, whereas the final dividends is declared on the last day of the financial year. That's the keyword there, declared. Declared is not the same as paid. Declared means that we are promising them to give them that certain amount of money. So at the end of the financial year, we will declare those final dividends, meaning you're going to promise them the Gucci. When the following financial year commence, we will give you this certain amounts of dividends. That's how you get your thing. I think the cliche or the about this whole thing might be with what? First thing is first thing. You just have to know your structure. Structure is paramount. So when you say interim dividend amount plus final dividend amount, you will get this total of dividends. When you say interim plus final, you get the dividends total, and then we'll record them in brackets there. And then for you to get your what? For you to get your balance at the end, you will say balance at the beginning plus net profit after tax minus your repurchase and also minus your dividends. And then you'll get your balance at the end of the year. That is our structure. So please, guys, note the structure down. Write it down there because it will be important when we calculate these things or when we do them. If ever you are writing slow, you can simply take a screenshot of this thing. Okay, so let's proceed then, guys. this thing that I want you to write it. Always write it when you are dealing with, let's just say you're supposed to calculate, you're supposed to do your ordinary share capital, your retained income, and what. I want you to write this MP. MP, you know, it means market price. Market price, guide cash flow. We use our market price with regards to repurchase there. With regards to repurchase, we use our market price when we do cash flow statement. The market price is the price in which we pay when we buy our shares. And then you have average price. Average price is ordinary share capital. And then the difference between when we say market price minus 1, market price minus average price, we get difference. That difference, we use it when we do our retained earnings. And then we'll get our difference. So this thing, I want you to always memorize it, know it by, don't just memorize it, know it by heart. Especially when it comes to retain. See, when it comes to repurchase, which price did they provide you with? Did they provide you with the market price? Did they provide you with the average price or what? Be vigilant about the price in which they provided you with. So I don't want us to for today we'll end here. We'll end here on the retained income structure. So guys, do we have any questions with regards to our structure of retained income? If ever we do have any questions, please type them in the chat box. Please type them there in the chat box, guys. If you have no questions, you can please indicate there in the chat box so that I know. With regards to retained income structure, remember your structure will be important. So failure to comply with your structure is going to be much more difficult predicament for you. So are we perfectly fine with our structure? Okay, since questions are not assessed, I'd assume that you are, with regards to retained income structure. Okay, retained income structure seems like all of us know it. I think let's end here for the day, guys. Let's not take too long. Let's end here for the day. So I'll send you questions subsequently right now on our group for ordinary share capital. You will just practice yourselves with the guys so that you can see good how things are going, or maybe send you a work. Should we call it homework? I'll send you 2 homeworks for ordinary share capital, and then before we do retained income tomorrow, in our next session, we will deal with it. So let's end here, guys, for our session. And thank you for your time, guys. Please enjoy the rest of your day. If ever there's anyone who still has questions, you are more welcome to stay to ask them.